Hello, everybody. Welcome to the 19th episode of the Late Night Gaming Podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Unfitz-Gaskowski here, and I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna get some Batman Arkham Knight, the newest Batman Arkham game going on here. We're gonna get some Wildstar Online, and we're gonna do the daily or the dollar debut of Silver Surfer this week. So we're going to go with Batman Arkham Knight to go ahead and start it off with, and I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure exactly how I feel about this. I literally just got, I just got the other one, the other game, Batman Origins. Why are they doing this so soon? Well, it's not really that soon. It's October 14th is the release date. It's developed by Rocksteady, published by Warner Brothers, and I hope you guys forgive me for looking down. I am checking out show notes here. And it's going to be released on October 14th. The platform's going to be Xbox, PlayStation, nope, just Xbox. Let me double check on that one. But sorry, tonight didn't go quite as planned again. Trying some new things out with Google Hangouts, so if you hear me typing or you see me looking away, it's just because I'm doing that. And I'm not really paying quite a bit of it or too much attention to the screen either. But yeah, I mean, a new Batman game. Nah, it was about a year after the old one released. So I'm kind of a little bit uneasy about that. But this one is Batman Arkham Knight. It is set 1 year after Arkham City, and Batman's foes have kind of bounded together to kind of take his mind off the fact that the rest of Gotham is crumbling and becoming just ruin, just horrible, horrible stuff. Batman is, again, voiced by Kevin Conroy, which I'm really excited about. I think that the Kevin Conroy voicing is just fantastic. It's right where Batman really needs to be. So the villains in this one are going to be Scarecrow, and there is no voice actor as far as I can tell right now on Scarecrow. If there is one, please let me know in the questions and comments and answer section. So go ahead, and if you have any questions, feel free to post them up there. I will answer them as I can, when I can, and so if I don't get it right away, stay tuned. I will get to them all, whether it's in the middle of the show or after the show or whatever. So Penguin's going to be voiced by Nolan North. Two-Face is Troy Baker, the wonderful Troy Baker. Just in case you don't know, he did play the main character of Bioshock Infinite as well. So Harley Quinn's going to be Tara Strong, and Riddler is going to be in this one. So I'm kind of excited about that one. Riddler's going to be played by Wally Wingert, and I'm really excited about that. So it is going to introduce his brand new, and as my show notes hinted to this, it is going to introduce a brand new major villain, and that is going to be the Arkham Knight. The Arkham Knight is going to be symbolized with an A on his chest as the Arkham Asylum would have you show, and with that A on his chest, he's going to have it's going to be from the Arkham Asylum, so you kind of can tell who that is. The Arkham Knight is going to be a militarized version of Batman, which I don't know if I like. I guess I'd really have to see what that means, because a militarized version of Batman is kind of, I don't know, how do I say, it's kind of against all odds. Now, this version, the Arkham Knight, has never been shown in any comic book. This has been created specifically for this game. That's it. I mean, that's all we know about him right now. And so that's kind of, I don't know how to really put this. It's kind of a, I don't know, you know. It's a militarized version of Batman, and it's never been seen before in a comic. It could go horribly right or horribly wrong. And I'm nervous about it because I love me some Batman. I don't really get to play the games all that much just because I play them for a little while and then I kind of put them down because I'm moving on to bigger and better games. Or not bigger and better, but I'm moving on to other games. So I don't know how I feel necessarily about the fact that they're bringing on a brand new character that's just out of the blue, just there, and I'm not sure, what this is going to do for the franchise. Is it going to push them to have more games? Because I think they're at 5 now. Is it going to push to do more? More? I mean, is it going to be more? Are they just going to create villains now? Who knows? But we shall see on this one in the upcoming months. It is going to be released on October 14th of this year, so they say. Nothing's ever hard in a hard date in gaming. Page out of Blizzard, they say, "Oh, we're going to release on this day." If it's not the way they want it, they just won't release it. And I agree with that. I like that idea. So the good and the bad. This is only going to be a single-player game. There's going to be no multiplayer aspect to it. It's going to be you're going to play the game and like the old school, man. There's no multiplayer aspect to it. And I think that might hurt the game a little bit because a lot of people get these games. A lot of people get games because they want to play the multiplayer aspects. And I agree with them. I love the fact that people want to play the multiplayer aspect. I want to play the multiplayer aspect of games. There are some games I buy specifically for multiplayer alone. That's it. I mean, that's all I ever do. I just buy the multiplayer games and just play those. So, the one thing that I did find pretty interesting is that the lead AI and combat designer, Tim Hannigan, is going to, or has leaked, that this is going to be 3 or 4 times larger. I'm sorry, 5 times larger than the old Arkham City, and at any given time there could be up to 50 characters wreaking havoc in a section of the city. So it's going to be a massive game. I think that's the new, with the next gen comes the massiveness of different characters and different mob scenes. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. With Batman and Rising Dead 3 and stuff like that, yeah, those might be good things. You want to get into combat, you want to get into those types of things and really push those things. You want to feel like you're Batman, like you're being attacked by 10, 15, 20 different people, and you want to feel like that's awesome, and you just defeated all these people, and you did it with style and pizzazz and panache and all that other insert verbs here. And I think that it could, could it mean epic gameplay moments, or could it be, old tired button mashing? So there's going to be some changes to combat as well. The ability, I can't tell you how many times I've been in a combo and somebody like goes kneeling or drops down to shoot or does something or whatever, and they go into a prone position and it breaks my combo. That's annoying. I'm so glad they're fixing that. This game, they're actually going to combine attacks to on prone targets, so it does not interrupt streaks. Batman can also counter attacks with the, he can counter attacks, and he can throw them into other enemies, doing increased damage. Enemies will also have the ability, normal enemies will also have the ability to charge at you and tackle you. By doing this, well, it used to only be that in the older Batman games, the only people that could charge and attack you were boss type people. They're the only ones that could do that. The only ones that had the capability of doing that. So you can actually be charged from behind and stuff like that. So I'm really curious on what that's going to look like. Is that going to do more damage than a normal attack if you get hit from behind? It used to be that Batman couldn't turn his head, but they fixed that apparently in the new movies, which I kind of laughed at when I saw the fact that they had Batman ask, I want to be able to turn my head. I kind of laughed because I remember the Kevin Costner. Sorry, I watched a movie last night with Kevin Costner, but I remember Batman Forever with George Clooney and the whole you couldn't turn your neck, your whole upper body had to turn, and it was just one of those things that I just laughed at when I saw that in the movie. But in this one, if he gets attacked from behind, it's going to be more damage. Is it going to be, more easier for the enemies to kind of crowd on you and get this whole pile-on mentality? And is there going to be cool breakouts? So is Batman going to throw 2 or 3 people off of him, or is he just going to be weighed down and that's going to be the end of him? Who knows? They really haven't said too much about that as much, but there's also going to be a fear. And I put this in quotes on my show notes because I wanted to make sure that I made sure that it was fear takedown. The reason I wanted to make sure that it was a fear takedown in quotes was that I don't really know what that means. They don't really give a great explanation on what fear takedown means. So essentially, you can subdue up to 3 enemies and simultaneously, so up to 3 enemies simultaneously, as long as he remains undetected. Easy enough. He's Batman. Time will slow down after each takedown. So I'm assuming these are one-shot hits. And I haven't seen any gameplay on this. I admittedly was just doing a lot of research last night, and I didn't really look for any videos. So if you guys out there know this answer, go ahead and post the link up in the show note or in the comments below, and let me know if it's going to show up. And there are some answers to my questions. Go ahead and put them down there. Let me know. And I'm pretty sure there isn't an answer to these questions yet. But again, let me know. I like it when you guys inform me. I like it when you guys are part of the community and building more awareness for games and such. So, and then also you can use environmental items to kind of throw enemies into and punch them into. If you throw somebody into an electric box, it's going to shock them and they're going to be done. I'm really hoping they do some really cool environmental things and really show like really cool, shocking things. I mean, cartoony enough. Yeah, I want to make it cartoony because it is Batman, but I also want to have that Dark Knight feel. The newer Batman feel, not so much the older, joke style of slapsticky style stuff. So new things to play with are going to be brought into this game. So this game is, again, it's taking a year after Arkham City, so we're not going backwards in time, we're going forwards in time, so new gadgets actually make sense. If you guys check out the article that I wrote on the website latenightgaming.net, you will see that I did an article on Batman Origins, and I admittedly haven't played very many Batman games, but I like that. So, Batmobile? Anyone? No? Nothing? No? Batmobile? Awesome. Batmobile is going to be available in this game. And there are going to be missions based on it. They're going to be there's going to be some drivable missions and gameplay and stuff like that. It is a drivable, and you can be called like you're floating around at Gotham City, gliding around. You can call it, and it will show up where you're about to land and land right into it. So it's going to be kind of like a Titanfall feel. You are falling, your car's going to be underneath you and catching you. So that's going to be really cool. You can call it at will, whether you're on foot gliding as well. Features the ability to jump. You can speed boost. You can rotate on the spot, smash through objects like barricades, trees, and such, and missiles to immobilize cars. So again, there's going to be some missions that require you to actually use the car and get from place to place. This world is going to be so big that you can actually drive the car through. I don't know if you remember or seen any of the old gameplay, but the streets are so narrow and cluttered with trash that you couldn't get through them. In Batman Dark Knight, Batman Rises, all those last movies, they weren't really like that. It let a lot of space for vehicles to drive through and get from point A to point B, and the Batmobile and the Batcycle and stuff like that. I'm really curious if they're going to bring that Bat motorcycle in. The Batcycle. Is that what it's called? I don't really know. And you can upgrade the cars just like you can upgrade Batman's utility belt. So that's going to be really cool. So my thoughts on this is so far, with all the big changes that they're announcing, I think that there's going to be enough new stuff to really pull away from the fact that it's another Batman game. I look at Batman games the way I look at, fighter games. They're another game. There's not much that changes between, Killer Instinct 1 and Killer Instinct 2 except for graphics and better combos. The characters, all for the most part, remain the same. For some of them, they gained some, whatchamacallits, graphical upgrades. Gosh, I'm having such a hard time with words. Maybe I shouldn't do this on Mondays. Anyway, I think that when you keep pushing Batman games and you're doing something new, like bringing in a new villain, and you're bringing in the Bat car. I called the Bat car. That was stupid. The Batmobile. And you're bringing in, a handful of villains. If you pre-order, by the way, you can play Harley Quinn as throughout the game somehow. I don't know what involvement that's going to have. They really didn't say. But if you pre-order, you get the ability to play as Harley Quinn, which I think is really cool. And Harley Quinn happens to be one of my favorites in the DC franchise, aside from Batman. And I kind of really like the Joker. I might get a little blasphemous here, but I really don't know that I like the Joker in the newer Batman movie, played by that guy who died. Gosh. Oh, anyway, I feel like he was chaotic, but not goofy enough. When Jack Nicholson played the Batman, or played the Joker in Batman, I felt like he was too silly and not chaotic enough. If you take those two characters and mash them together and put them into a video game, I'd love it. I think that'd be great. I just don't feel. I just hope that, they don't do that, because then that would destroy the timeline, because Batman killed Joker or Joker died in the last Batman game, Arkham City, I think it was. So this is after Joker's dead, and so Harley's on her own, and she's become this, villain woman, and we'll see. We'll see what happens. So actually, she kind of becomes good, but I'll let you figure that out. All right. I don't know how I stumbled upon this game. I think a friend of mine told me about it. It's called Wildstar Online, or more commonly referred to as Wildstar. It's developed by Carbine, published by NCSoft. It's going to be on Windows only because it's an MMO. I don't know if they're going to develop a Mac platform. I haven't heard, seen anything about it. So the background on this game, and you're going to have to excuse me, I'm going to have to look down to remember this because it's a little bit more than I thought. It's a science fiction fantasy set on the fictional planet of Nexus. A mysterious and powerful race known as Eldon has disappeared, leaving tech and secrets for players to explore. So there's an ancient race that just kind of up and left. I don't know what happened or where it went, but it's just no longer there, and they left behind all this technology and secrets and stuff like that. There are two factions. There's the Dominion and the Exile, and they are fighting each other for control over Nexus. And the Dominion is controlled by, it's very imperialistic. It almost feels like a Star Wars type story. You've got an emperor, and the emperor is controlling these people, and any property found on the planet belongs to the emperor. It's very, don't get me wrong, this is a very cartoony kind of game, and it's really fun to watch and play. And it's a great thing to kind of look at. It is so far it's been really fun. There are some mechanics I want to get into, but let's go. I'm going to finish up the background here. So the Exiles are the refugees and the outlaws that were driven away from where the Dominion is. And so they kind of fight with the Dominion to try and keep battle and stuff like that. So gameplay in this is going to be a little bit different in the sense that it's taking kind of like a Guild Wars 2 feel, and you can double tap to roll away, you can double jump, you can sprint. There's going to be some jumping puzzles. If you ever played Guild Wars 2, they had a lot of jumping puzzles in the Guild Wars 2, and some of them were extremely annoying because they were extremely difficult to play. And if your computer really wasn't fluid enough to see the frames as you went by, you would miss, and you'd have to start all over again. And some of those jumping puzzles were like annoying beyond belief, to the point where I actually stopped playing it, or stopped doing the jumping puzzle, and I would just move on. Movement in this game is actually really essential, because this game is a cross between I would say like an ESO style and a World of Warcraft style of combat. There are static abilities that will happen, and for instance, I started playing one of the Elspeths, and I'll get into what those all are here in a second. Or I'm sorry, espers, and the esper shoots these, phantom like knives and throws things, and it's all magical and based off of psychology or psych points and stuff, which again I'll get into more. Um, but I started playing it, and while I was playing it, I was noticing that there's a lot of times where an enemy is going to attack, and you see this big red circle, you got to double tap out of it, and it's you might have to cancel a spell in order to do that. So I think it's really cool, and I think it's really the movement mechanics really make sense, and they're not too convoluted. Combat in this system is based on telegraphs. Now, when I read this, I had no clue what that meant. I was really confused. What does it mean by a telegraph? And you have to remind me. It was 2:00 in the morning when I wrote this. What it does is it puts a kind of like a path on the ground, and it'll start to have a timer going across it. Once the timer reaches the end, that's your spell timer. So you're telegraphing where you're about to shoot by actually aiming your shot. Your enemy can see that, and they can dive out of the way, so you can actually kind of guess where they're about to go and just start casting in that direction. You can also move left and right while casting. Some classes can actually move while attacking, so like a warrior or I'm not 100% sure because I haven't played them all yet, but a warrior and a spell slinger can possibly move while casting. So that's really cool, and it's allowing players to predict where the heal is going to be or where dodge is going to be. Most of these spells have an AOE target. None of them are single target spells. They're mostly the most ones that I've seen. I'm only like level 4 in the game because I got a beta key. By the way, there is an open beta. I will post a link on how to get there in the show notes afterwards, and so we'll stay tuned there. But I will be streaming this live after the show, so if you want to join me on twitch.tv/unfitgames. So go ahead and head over there right after the show. I'll probably pop on and you'll see my desktop for a little bit. Attacks and heals are also telegraphed. Enemy attacks and heals are also telegraphed. So the entire combat system is a telegraph system where, a good player, a better player with more skill and the ability to kind of understand where somebody might end up is going to be better than, say, somebody who doesn't have that skill, who won't recognize that. I think that combat system might actually detract from the gameplay a little bit because not everyone's going to be that good. Not everyone's going to want to practice that. The players that want to play this competitively, and I will get into why there's going to be a competitive afterwards, but the players that want to do that competitively might sit there and practice that all day long, might learn the systems and figure out where things are going and how things are how mechanics move and such. Which again is why some of these games are created, is for a competitive aspect or even just a community aspect. So there's going to be some housing as well in this game. So I'm going to move away from combat for a little bit because I think I've beaten that one too much. So we're going to go into housing. You can own a sky plot, which is cool. I think that's really great. Sky plot is a land consisting of a house and several sockets. Each socket can have a plug, and each plug can have different things like crafting and exploration shafts and mines, etc., 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 right? So there's a perk to owning a house. It's not just a place to keep your stuff like in Final Fantasy. There's an actual perk to actually having the house. Now, I'm really hoping that it's not pay-to-win type stuff. It's if you earn the house, you earn the things that go along with it, but it's not easy to earn the house. And I think I'm already going to be proved wrong on that one because if you pre-order now, you can buy. You'll get I'm pretty sure you get a sky plot. I mean, it might be just a blank sky plot and you have to build the entire thing, which would be good because then you have to put a lot of work into it, a lot of time into it, and that makes business sense, obviously. The exterior can be filled with plugs and decorations to hooks. Now, I'm not sure what they mean by hooks. Is it like one hook per plug or multiple hooks per plot? I don't know how that's going to look. They really didn't go too deep into that. And the interior, though, is going to be completely up to creative freedom. So it's going to look however you want it to look. You can do whatever you want in there. Well, I mean, within creative reason, obviously. And various interior decorations will offer boosts in your XP, your rested XP. You're not going to get XP by being in your house, but you're going to get rested XP. So essentially, that's like inertia. It's there. It's going to happen faster. So by having the house and by being able to add these hooks in and add these decorations and such in the house, you're going to get a quicker XP boost. I haven't seen anything about an XP boost cap like they did in WoW, where it's a 2-level cap, but we'll find out. So it's not required to have a house by any means, but they do offer advantages. Personal workbenches, gathering notes, personal dungeons, quicker access to raids. So it is beneficial to own a house, but it's not mandatory by any stretch of the imagination. You don't need to own a house to get everything in the game, apparently. So character advancement. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go over, I'm going to talk about each of the classes really quickly. And I'm granted, I don't know a whole lot, so I will post up some more material in the show notes to where you can find out more about these classes. And I mean, I can give you a basic overview of every class, but I've only, seen 2 played. So there's 6 classes. There's the warrior, there's the esper, the spell slinger, the stalker, and the medic and the engineer. Warrior, obviously, DPS tank. So each of the 6 classes can have 2 of the 3 roles, that being DPS, healing, and tanking. Now, a warrior is going to be DPS tank. Esper is going to be DPS and I believe healing, because they are pretty squishy. Spell slinger is going to be DPS heals. Stalker is going to be DPS and I think tank. Medic is going to be heals and tank. And engineer I think is going to be DPS and heals as well. So I'm pretty sure that's how it goes. Again, I played the game a total of 3 hours so far, and I will tell you what I think about it after I go through all of these notes here. The races they're class or faction-specific races, just like in World of Warcraft. So you have the Dominion, which has the Cassian, the Draken, the Mechuri. I can't pronounce it right. It's Mechari, and it's the Chua. The Chua is my favorite so far, and I've never really been a fan of small races before, like the miniature races, like the goblins and the gnomes. I've never really been a fan of those before, so. The exiles are going to have the humans, the Granuk, the Auran, and the Mordesh. Now I'm hoping you guys are kind of putting 2 and 2 together here. This is the love child of 7 ex-Blizzard employees. So I'm hoping you guys are kind of drawing the connections here. These guys used to work on World of Warcraft. There's going to be a lot of similarities between the 2 games. They're taking what they think should be done right and doing it well. And so far, I mean, again, in the 3 hours I've played, I've been really happy. I've been having a lot of fun with it. I think that so far it's a good game, and I think it could do very damaging results to things like ESO and World of Warcraft and those other MMOs that are out there. I think this could be damaging to those. I don't think it's going to kill them by any stretch of the imagination, but I think it could be damaging. So like I said, each class can have 2 of the 3 roles, and I've kind of went over what I think they're going to be. And I think the website has a more definitive answer to that question. But Wildstar, the character progression is open to something called paths. Upon character creation, you'll have 4 choices. Those choices are, gosh, I didn't write them down, but they're scientist, they're engineer, and a couple of others, but I'm stupid and didn't write. I'm sorry, I did write them down. Soldier, explorer, settler, and scientist. Now, if you guys aren't familiar with something called the Bartle Plays types, that's the attacker, the tank, the healer, and the DPSer, or the assassin and the damager, I think is what they consider it. They follow it pretty loosely in the sense of how that works. Now these 4 paths will open up how you get to see extra content. So it's replayability. Just you're going to build a character after character after character. You're going to probably at minimum have 4 characters if you so choose. I mean, I know a lot of people who will take one character and just play that character all the time and never change. And they'll have every piece of gear for it, and they'll just keep running the same content over and over and over again. I unfortunately am not one of those people. I will take one character and make that my main character, where I use that character for all my major questing and all my major gathering and stuff like that, and then I will try all of the other classes, so I have a better understanding of the full game. I think that so far I've only tried the scientist in the role, so I don't really know how what that's really playing out. I have noticed that one of the cool things is if I run up to a plant and a certain plant and I scan it, it will heal me. I think it's really cool. So I have kind of like a built-in heal. PvP is definitely going to happen in this game. They already have it pretty much mapped out. And there's probably going to be more maps and more things going on here. It's going to be open world. You can PvP almost anywhere. As of right now, there's only one server. Because it's an open beta, and then they're just stress testing it. But as of right now, it's just open world PvP. There is going to be arenas. It's going to be 2v2, 3v3, 5v5, and it will have a limited number of respawns. So you can die and you can respawn. And I feel like that's going to be a strategic play in that one. I feel like that one's going to actually probably play into how these MMOs go and how these things roll. Once the game, the victory condition is one team beats the other team after all their respawns are gone. So just like your normal arena, they're just probably going to go a little bit longer than what you're normally used to. So there's going to be quite a different things. So it happens. Alrighty. So there are going to be some battlegrounds up to 15 versus 15 object-oriented. Victory conditions are dependent on the nature of objects. And then there will be war plots, 40 versus 40. Fortress controlled by war party. Players have to build war plots in order to increase attack and defense possibilities. Matches are organized by 2 war parties. Victory is obtained when the player takes control of the opposing war plot. So I think it's going to be really great. And we'll see what happens there. And so I have a question from somebody that's completely off topic. So I'm going to break from babbling on and on about sorry. I really just kind of forgot what else. The Wildstar Online. So David Whiteman asks, hey, I'm about to be 21 in 1 week and 5 days. Any advice for getting my first kiss with a girl at the dance club? No. Not really. I'm just kidding. Just be yourself, dude. I mean, honestly, it's I could give you these like really smooth lines and these smooth answers and stuff like that, but man, let me tell you, if you're just honest and you have a genuine conversation with somebody, that means more to most people than anything else in the world. I go out on a daily basis and I try and have just genuine conversations with people, and if you're looking for just a quick hookup with somebody at night, then you might want to try and be Rico Suave and stuff like that, but I don't really feel like you're going to get very far with that. I mean, do you consider yourself kind of a nerdy person, or are you kind of like a standoffish person, or what? Anyway, while you answer that question and ask me your next question, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about this Wildstar Online and my opinions of it. So, Wildstar Online, I've played the beta for about 3 hours. And I kind of just was like, at first I was kind of leery of it. I was like, wow, this kind of feels like World of Warcraft, and I was kind of moving into feeling like, hey, um, I really want to like this game, but at the same time, I want to be fair and I want to really kind of understand what's going on here. So what I was thinking about while I was playing it was, well, this is fun and interesting and it's entertaining. Let's move into it. As I started moving into it, I started noticing a little bit of a quirkiness to it, a little bit of a, how to say, a little bit of like a playfulness. It's kind of breaking the, that dimension that a lot of games try and stay away from. They want you to be focused into the story and stuff like that, but this one kind of breaks that and brings you into the game as a person and stuff like that. So I really feel like this game's going to be really great. I think it's going to do some damage to some of these other big names out there, like ESO. I think it's going to do some damage to World of Warcraft. I think it's going to do as if Star Wars was still actually a huge, big game. It has quite a bit of followers, but the two major ones are World of Warcraft and ESO. So I think it's gonna do some damage to those. I think it has the capability of being an exceptionally great game. The one thing I really like about it, and I didn't mention in the notes, was the way that they're going to do their pay system. They're going to have you can opt in to pay every month, or use you can get an in-game token where you can sell them for in-game money, and you can use them to purchase time to play the game. So there's going to be a really weird way to get game time. And I feel like a lot of people are going to farm that stuff, but you can get in-game currency for the game, and then you can buy time with in-game currency from these people who I guess are going to farm it. I don't really know how that's going to really work, but that's going to be a really interesting way to see the things going. So back to Mr. David here. David says, get to know her first. Well, if you're looking to just get a kiss, I mean, you could get to know her. I mean, you obviously want to get to know her somewhat, because if she has herpes on her face, you're going to want to know that. I mean, don't obviously ask her that, but you're going to want to talk to her for some length of time to see if there's some, stuff floating around over here, or if there's a heavy makeup patch, like right about there. You want to know if that's there. Secondly, if you're 21 and you haven't kissed anyone yet, I don't think a dance club, or a club for that matter, is going to be the right place to do that. Who knows? I could be wrong. I don't go out like that. I'm almost 30 years old. I stopped doing that a long time ago. But you obviously are going to want to get to know her just a little bit first. So anyway, I'm hope that helps. I mean, you're really in the wrong place asking for relationship advice, because I'm lucky I got the girlfriend I have who supports me in everything I do, and she's wonderful. So I don't really go out. And so anyway, David says, I'd say I'm a nervous guy to go through with it. I'm kind of a nerd, not really though. I like a lot of hobbies, and I'm a drummer. I've had a lot of kissing dreams, and when I wake up, I loved them. How do I lead it into the kiss with conversation? Man, honestly, man, I don't know. You just know when it's right to do so, and you just kind of go in for it, and hopefully it happens. I mean, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? She says no, and you never see her again. So, most girls that you're going to find at a club aren't the type of girls that you want to ask. They're more looking for a guy who's more confident and who's just going to go for it and just take the kiss. So, all right. So I'm going to move into my last segment here, and that is the daily debut, or the dollar debut of Silver Surfer. So Silver Surfer, if you guys don't know who Silver Surfer is, cool. I'm going to tell you a little bit about him. One of the things that I really liked about the Silver Surfer is its art. it kept it classy, man. I love it. This week it's Silver Surfer, and it's done by Dan Slott, Slott. Michael Allred, Laura Allred. So we got some family members going on there. I don't know if they're married or not, but I didn't really do the research on the artists. The one thing that I loved about the Silver Surfer was its just ability to be quirky and fun. I At the very end of the book, it's just like this really weird twist of events and things happen. But one of the things that I really like is just the artistry in here, and especially the centerpiece. I call it the centerpiece because I don't want to call it a centerfold because then that sounds kind of like the wrong show. But this is the center of the book. This is actually the planet that kind of enlists the help of Captain. I'm sorry, Captain. I said Captain America because of I want his bike. But anyway, but I think the great thing about the Silver Surfer here is just the ability to take a very seriously feeling character and make a good joke out of it every once in a while. In this comic, Silver Surfer guy is he's no longer serving the Galactica, and he is on his own, and he's helping other planets, that are in need. So the very beginning of the book, he's taking a planet and he's giving it to a smaller microplanet so that they can have a sun and they don't perish and die, which I really liked. And I felt like that was a good feel to him, and it really kind of just pushed what you were thinking. The very, very, very first page of the book is kind of complicated in the sense that they want to make you feel like he's still a world destroyer, and he's doing it for Galactica, but he's not. He found a sun that wasn't really doing anything for anyone else, so he helped a small planet. While that's going on, meanwhile, back in New England, there's a small family of two girls and a dad, and they have a bed and breakfast in New England, and they are welcoming a bus tour of people. Now, one of the sisters is out in a world traveler, and the other one is helping dad at home. These girls are twins, and so people kind of recognize them and like, oh, that's the girl that helped this book, and blah 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 and stuff like that. But they're like, no, that's my sister, and the artistry in here kept it old school, and it feels like I was reading one of those paperback, just classic comic books, like my old Doctor Who, my old Hulk and books and such. So it kept it really old school with the thick lines and the bright colors, and I really liked it. I thought it was great. I feel like if you're gonna bring back an old school comic like this and reboot it, I feel like this is the way to do it. You pay homage to that old school feel. You pay homage to the original. And so I really like it. I really think it's doing really well. I mean, they really do some really good onomatopoeia work here with the zit and the zat and the zark and the pows and the pangs. I really, really liked this book. I thought it was fun and it was interesting, and it's kept my attention. I really hope that they continue going on the same path that they're looking at going on with this one. I really, really hope that it continues going on the same way. So I'm going to repeat myself a few more times before I end the show. Anyway, that is my show. The next 10-15 minutes is usually where I start talking about my spiel. My spiel being this. I mean, we're coming up really quick on Denver Comic Con. We are actually 31 days out. So as of right now, I have gracefully secured some swag. Not much at all. So if you see me and you say hi to me at Denver Comic Con through June 13th through the 15th, come say hi. I may or may not have something to hand to you. Just to say hey, thank you for listening and watching and making me do what I do. I mean, I love doing this. I love talking to you guys about it. So that being said, that would be Denver Comic Con in June 13th to the 15th. I will be there, and I will be walking around, and I will have media passes. Yes. And I also will be there with my girlfriend, so she's going to be interviewing some folks and hopefully running some stuff for me. That being said, if you would like to make it more possible for me to give more things to you, donations are always a helpful thing. So if you go to latenightgaming.net, up in the top left-hand corner of the website, you will see a donate button. That is for the purposes of the show. Everything you give to the show goes right back into the show. I do not, unless I'm going to start making enough money off of this to survive, I do not take any of that money out for any purposes other than getting new equipment, getting a better camera, or, microphones, or going to conventions, things like that. So this is made possible by you folks out there, the viewers. So, that being said, latenightgaming.net is my website. It's where you will find the latest and greatest. I will admittedly say that I am slacking on that website. I am a one-man show as of right now. I am looking I'm speaking with one or two other people that are interested in writing and that are interested in being a part of the show in other ways, and we'll see what happens with those folks. As of right now, I am very nervous. This is my baby. This is my thing. This is my show, and I love it, and I fiend for it every week. This is my drug. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm hopefully going to be bringing more people on, giving more content to you guys. Again, if you guys out there who are listening want to write for the show, be a part of the show, help drive the community that I am so heavily in love with, you the gamers, you the comic book folks, the nerds, the geeks, feel free to go to latenightgaming.net, contact us link on the top or in the center underneath my logo there. You will be able to reach me directly and let me know, hey, I want to write for you. Hey, how can I be a part of the show? Are you looking for another or co-host with you? Things like that. And I'll let you know, what I'm looking for. If you want to submit some work so I can see what you're doing, go for it. Also, I will be streaming Wildstar Online right after the show. So in about 10 minutes or so, like I said, you'll see a little desktop at twitch.tv. You can all see this into the show notes on the bottom at the YouTube channel. So go to latenightgaming.net, follow us there. Go to facebook.com/LNGcast, like us there. All this stuff helps me make the show better. And if you guys really want to know why or how, by giving me likes, by giving me thumbs up, by giving me recognition in all the social medias, I can then take that to sponsors and say, hey, you should sponsor me because I do this and you can benefit from that. And that's what that does. That's literally, if you like a show, any show out there, whether it's mine or any other show, like it, subscribe to it, they get to go back to people who are going to pay them to do this, which is ultimately the goal. That's why we all want to do this. We want to do this for a living. Who doesn't want to talk and play video games for the rest of their life for money? I know I do. I'd love to read comic books every week for money. Anyway, so yeah, go like the page, thumbs up on Facebook, and thumbs up on Twitter, and thumbs up on wherever you thumbs up at. Also, if you really like the show, tell your friends. Get the word out there. We are a word-of-mouth driven community here. So that's really all I got to say this week, guys. I mean, I really appreciate all of you who came out and watched the show this week, and those of you who are listening after the fact. I really appreciate you guys being here and taking the time to listen and do that stuff. I like to hear from you guys. I love getting emails. When my phone goes off with an email, I am happier than a pig in dirt. So hopefully you guys tell your friends. Hope you guys get the word out there. Again, I'm on every Monday at 10 o'clock, usually 10:30, but I'm pushing that back to 10 o'clock so I can get more people at a younger age to watch the show because it is late on the East Coast where I am at. So thank you for your submitting of questions, and sorry I can't be a greater help of how to get you your first kiss, my friend, but I'm a nerd just like most people, and shoot, I'm lucky I ever got kissed. Anyway, enjoy the rest of your night, guys. Enjoy your week, and I hope you guys kick it off with a good one. Have a good one, guys. Stay up late. Pound a Red Bull. Do it.